cold November air swirled around the Portland airport runway, the kind that stings your face and fogs your breath. Inside Northwest Orient Flight 35 fluorescent cabin lights flickered against the dusk sky. People shifted in their seats, unaware that a quiet man in dark sunglasses held a note that would rewrite aviation history. Outside, the jet engines roared against the vast Pacific Northwest sky wind. Pressure, altitude forces far bigger than any person on board. And yet, one man was about to challenge all of it. What really happened to the stranger we now call D.B. Cooper? Stay with me. On November 24, 1971, a man in a black suit, clip-on tie, and dark sunglasses boarded Northwest Orient Flight 305 from Portland to Seattle. He purchased a one-way ticket under the name Don Cooper, paying cash $20. He was calm, polite, unremarkable. But at 2:50 p.m., after takeoff, he handed flight attendant Florence Schaffner a note. She assumed it was a phone number, until Cooper leaned in and whispered, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." Inside the envelope were cylindrical objects wired together for batteries, red sticks, and a trigger. Schaffner memorized every detail. Passengers went on reading magazines, unaware. Cooper calmly ordered $200,000 in cash, worth about $1.5 million today, for parachutes and a fuel truck ready in Seattle. As the Boeing 727 descended, the crew relayed instructions to Seattle authorities. FBI agents scrambled, the bank prepared marked bills. The air pressure changed as the plane dropped, the cabin vibrating. Cooper watched everything silently, sipping bourbon and smoking Raleigh cigarettes, leaving behind one of the few DNA traces ever recovered. The jet landed in Seattle at 5:46 p.m. Cooper released the passengers but kept the crew. His money and parachutes arrived on board. Then, he issued new flight orders, unprecedented ones. Cooper instructed the pilots to fly the 727 south toward Mexico City at 10,000 feet, flaps at 15 degrees, and speed no faster than 200 knots. These numbers were strange, painfully specific. Engineers later confirmed those settings were the minimum safe parameters for performing a mid-air parachute jump. But here's the part that stunned investigators. Cooper also demanded this specific airplane because the Boeing 727 had a unique rear airstair, a ramp that could be lowered mid-flight. Few people even knew this was possible. Only those with military airborne experience or deep aviation knowledge would know. At 7:40 p.m., with heavy rain and 40-knot winds outside, the plane took off from Seattle. Cooper ordered the cabin unpressurized, critical for jumping without being torn apart by sudden decompression. The air inside grew colder and thinner as they climbed. FBI aircraft attempted to trail Flight 305, but storms made tracking nearly impossible. Radar flickered, visibility dropped to near zero. The jet entered a corridor of turbulence, sweeping across the Pacific Northwest. At 8 p.m., a cockpit warning light blinked. The aft airstair had been activated. OTT jam 8:13 p.m. The entire aircraft jolted upward. Abrupt pressure shift, recorded in the flight log, and later analyzed by Boeing engineers. It matched the signature of a person jumping into open air at 10,000 feet. Outside winds tore across the Columbia River Basin, gusting up to 50 miles per hour. Temperatures at 10,000 feet hovered near freezing, around -1 degree Celsius. Wind chill would plunge even lower, dangerous enough to freeze exposed skin in minutes. Cooper leaped into blackness so absolute, pilots described it as ink. Below him, tens of thousands of square miles of forests, ravines and rivers. No lights, no landmarks, just the roar of wind and the vast, unforgiving night. His parachute, a civilian model, not steerable. His clothes, business shoes and a trench coat. The cash, $200,000 in 10,000 marked $20 bills, 9.8 pounds strapped to his body. Some experts later argued that no one could survive those conditions. Others pointed out elite military paratroopers, trained for exactly this. FBI data logs showed the plane's jolt at 8:13 p.m. indicated a weight of roughly 200 pounds. Shifting off the rear ramp, a human with gear. The storm's pressure zones that night were chaotic, shifting wind directions and dragging objects unpredictably across the region. Searchers spent days, weeks, months, combing the suspected drop zone near Ariel, Washington, 1,500 square miles of thick woods. They found nothing. Not a footprint, not a parachute, not a body. Then, 9 years later, A breakthrough. In February 1980, on the sandy banks of the Columbia River, an 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram dug into the mud while his family roasted hot dogs. His shovel hit something unusual: bundles of decaying $20 bills. Rubber bands melted into clumps. The serial numbers. A perfect match to the Cooper ransom. The location puzzled investigators. The money was found 20 miles from the estimated jump zone, buried roughly 3 to 5 inches below the surface. Geological surveys later confirmed. The sandbar experienced shifting layers due to seasonal flooding, depositing and redistributing sediment. That meant the money could have traveled through water channels before lodging at Tena Bar. The bills showed clear signs of waterlogging, but not the total decomposition expected after 9 years outdoors. FBI hydrologists determined the bundles likely entered the river years after the hijacking, raising a new possibility. Cooper may have survived the jump, but lost or intentionally disposed of the money long after. And yet, if he survived, why leave behind his only leverage? Why never spend a single marked bill? Microscopic analysis confirmed there was no river silt between the bill layers. That means the money entered the water while still bundled down extremely specific detail. In the 2000s, scientists re-examined Cooper's clip-on tie, the tie he left behind on the airplane. Using electron microscopy, they discovered microscopic particles of titanium, stainless steel, cerium, strontium, and pure aluminum. These materials weren't common in consumer products of the 1970s. But they were common in the aerospace industries, specifically titanium welding and aircraft manufacturing. This meant something huge. Cooper may not have been military as originally assumed. He may have been an engineer or technician working around titanium aircraft components. But then came the twist. Many suspects fit parts of the profile, yet none fit all of it. The tie residue didn't match their backgrounds. The money's decay pattern didn't match their alibis. And the parachute found decades later buried deep in Washington proved unrelated. After 45 years of analysis, 60 suspects, 1,200 interviews, and thousands of flight path simulations, the FBI officially suspended the active investigation in 2016. They concluded one thing with certainty: they could not determine whether D.B. Cooper survived. If D.B. Cooper died during the jump, investigators expected to find something: fabric, bones, equipment, a parachute canopy, fragments of the briefcase, anything. But decades passed: floods, fires, logging, construction, and nothing surfaced except the money at Tena Bar. If he survived, investigators expected spending activity, but not a single marked $20 bill has ever circulated, not one. Forensic analysts modeled flight patterns. Slight turbulence at the moment of Cooper's jump could place his landing site anywhere within a 30-square-mile drift zone, a region nearly impossible to search thoroughly. Geologists found evidence that the Tena Bar money could have arrived through a secondary deposit, meaning Cooper may have survived but accidentally lost the cash later. And yet, no conclusive trace of the man was ever found. Not before, not after, not anywhere. In a world of fingerprints, DNA, satellite imaging, bank tracking, and digital footprints, one man armed with a parachute, cash, and a cigarette vanished into a storm. Sometimes the greatest mysteries aren't buried in oceans or galaxies. They're hidden in ordinary moments, like a plane in the rain or a man in sunglasses who walks on board and never returns. Stay with Untold Mystery as we keep searching. D.B. Cooper's Disappearance isn't just a crime story, it's a test of how much we think we understand about chance, survival, and the limits of human ingenuity. Could a single leap into a storm rewrite what we believe is possible? Or did the wilderness simply swallow a man who dared too much? Share your theories below. Did Cooper survive? Was he a trained professional or just incredibly lucky? If you want more real-world mysteries, from deep-sea discoveries to strange cosmic events, follow Untold Mystery. Thanks for watching.